Hello and welcome to BusyWorksBeats.com. We are back with a podcast and I have a great question for you guys today. How important is the beat to the actual song? Because I asked the question on Twitter and I said, what's more important, the artist or the beat maker? And I don't mean that in the sense of a title. I mean, what really makes the song the song? So I posed a question on Twitter. I said, if the beat is so important, then why, when the artist is on the stage and they mute the beat, the audience keeps rapping with them or keeps singing with them? If the beat is so important to where you can't go without the beat, then why can they do that? And that question spawned off into a lot of good points, and I'm going to pull those points up today. And I'm curious to hear you guys' points in the comments below because I really want to get to the bottom of what makes the song the song. If you follow me long enough, you know I have a 4-step process to layer your song. You have the top line, which is the memorable melody. You have the harmony section, which is your chords. You have the contrast section, which is your bass and your counter melody. And you have the rhythm section. So out of those 4 sections, I could take away the rhythm, but the beat still feels like the beat. I could take away the bass or the contrast layer. The beat still feels like the beat. I could take away the chords. The beat still feels like the beat. But what's left is that top line. And what is the top line? The top line is also an instrument called the vocal. The top line is, something on your piano. So for example, Michael Jackson, doom, 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 doom. Some people just know it. Do, 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 do. Billie Jean is. Like they know it so much that they know every little part about it. And I don't think every song has that. And for us to really say that something is a universal truth, it has to be true across the board. So I'm going to read some of you guys' Twitter posts because you made some good points, but I'm really trying to get to the bottom of what truly makes the song the song. And I want to hear you guys' comments until we figure out the universal truth here. So Swizzle J says, because the beat is still going on in their head, you're trying to make it sound like an acapella can compete and the beat doesn't come first. So the common rebuttal I got with this is that they're like, okay, well, I don't see artists putting out acapella albums. It's like, but that's a specific use case for a beat. People are not going to Spotify looking up the beats for songs first. They're looking up the song. And if the beat is available, they might listen to the beat. Beat tapes are a thing. That's true. But so is battle rap, where you don't need any beat. So is acapella performance, where you have choirs and R&B groups that just sing harmonies without any music behind it. So we can make a case for both sides. So because of that case for both sides, I don't think we could say that the beat is the more important thing because you can't drop acapella albums. Okay, because truly, if you think about rap, here's the cool part about rap. And I said this as a response here. But let me just say my point here real quick, is that with rap, you can go on, like Sway's show, Shade 4-5. You can go on Hot 97 with DJ Funk Master Flex. You can go on these shows, spit a verse from a completely different beat over a different beat. Okay, so your verse can go from beat to beat to beat. It's just a different rhythm underneath. Okay, so that's my argument to this, is that if the beat itself is so important, how is it interchangeable? And I think people took this as a slight to producers, to say that producers are important. That's not what I'm saying. As a music producer and an artist, I'm saying that basically, who's trained a million producers around the world. Some have gone to work with Drake, Kanye West, Post Malone, Ariana Grande, French Montana, Young Thug, Polo G, Trippie Redd, Lil Baby, J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, and a long list of other folks. So yeah, I love being a music producer. I also love the artistry of the side. So I'm not taking sides saying which one's better or worse. What I'm trying to get to the point of is what makes the song the song. And I think people are trying to say that I'm belittling the music producer. It's a difference between arrogance, which means you're overvaluing yourself, and then confidence, which is when you know your actual worth. And I think what I'm trying to dig to is the confidence to know, what does a music producer provide? And again, before we get into these subpoints, if the beat was the hit, the thing that made the hit, then why is it that I have to get the beat to the right artist for it to be a hit? You could take Future's 7:12 p.m. I think it's an amazing beat. You could give it to let's just say you can give it to Metro. Metro will make his own song. You'll give it to The Weeknd. He'll make a different song. You give it to Drake. He'll make a different song. Give it to Kendrick. He'll make a different song. Give it to Meg Thee Stallion. They're all going to create different songs around that beat. But when that beat got in the hands of Future, Future made it a hit. And I don't know if a lot of people understand the music industry, but the way beats work, and I'll get back to the comments on Twitter here in a second. The way most beats work as far as selling songs is you might pitch your song to, let's say, Cardi B. Cardi B makes a verse on it. It's just not the greatest hit in the world. let's say she's tight with, I don't even know, some artist. I don't even know. Just say some other artist on the label. They might swap the Cardi B version for the next person's version because it's better. That happens all the time. You get songwriters who write over these songs and these beats, okay? And that's the template that ultimately goes to the final artist. You guys have heard this with Drake. He's pitched songs. And this is why I think there's a divide in this conversation is I don't think people understand how the music industry usually works. It's not all the time where you just send in a beat, Future hears it, it's amazing, he records over it. Sometimes you have a Drake scenario where you make a beat, okay, Boy Wonder might make a beat, he might get a songwriter, like back in the day, I think it was Quentin Miller, and they hop on the beat, or whoever produced the beat, and they do the verse and they do the hook, and they're creating a song. That song is then sold to Drake. The idea, the concept is sold to Drake. Drake then goes back to re-record the verse because people want to hear Drake over the beat. It's not they want to hear Quentin Miller's version, they want to hear Drake. So didn't Drake make the song? Because if that wasn't the case, why do we have songwriters who don't end up on the final release? So these are my, sub points, but let's hear what you guys had to say on Twitter. So Kumar says, will the audience jump or cheer if there's no beat at all? Yes, they'll jump. That's for sure. And again, I'm not here to belittle people. I'm just here to help producers understand our actual value that we bring to the table. I think a lot of us overly value ourselves and we're arrogant in that way. And we say, oh, the beat makes the song. The artist is nothing without the producers. That's not really true. And you could look at the economic market to say, okay, if that's true, then why are beats selling for $26 on average on BeatStars? If the beat makes the artist, why is the value going down? Why is a Future verse $100,000, but your beat is $26? Who's more important? The person you're paying more for, the person who has more demand in that case. In my opinion, that's the actual measurable value to say, okay, if a Drake verse costs me $2 million and the beat costs me $26 on BeatStars, even if you say you're the top of the line producer, you charge $200,000, you're still not going to match Drake's $2 million fee. I'm just saying $2 million. I don't know what he actually charges, if he charges at all. But my point is, if the thing is so desirable and the thing makes the hit, why is the value lower in the actual marketplace? These are just points I want to make as sub-points. Okay. Now, Invader Trim says only certain artists can do this for real, but the beat plays a good part if it's tailored to the song itself. Bam Keith says that's like 1 out of 10 songs, though. He's basically saying that you can't just turn the beat off for every single song, which I would argue in a live performance. I would actually argue this. He says, I bet you the beat is in their heads, though. Plus, there are songs that aren't hit songs that fans still listen to because of the beat alone and ignore the lyrics. I mean, who ignores the lyrics of a song? I don't know. Guel says Dilla, Nujabes, Madlib, Flying Lotus, Knowledge, Pete Rock, etc. all exist independently with the instrumentals and have pushed the culture for other producers to then assist artists. Is there a case of this happening in our culture at this magnitude from acapellas? Again, I like the beginning of this, but then I don't like how people are demonizing acapellas as if acapellas aren't the value. Because again, like I said, somebody could do a public speech and have millions of people watching. There's no beat, there's no music. It's like a pastor. I could, have my speech, speak to the audience, I could be a good orator, and I have influence over millions of people. The beat is just an energetic, rhythmic thing to get people entranced into the message from my perspective. Now, again, I think some of the points that are being made here are about instrumentalists. And I think that we need to separate instrumentalists from beat makers. Beat makers, in my opinion, are chasing an artist to be on a song. I'm talking about a song, not an instrumental. And like I said before, if we're making the instrumental argument saying that, okay, we don't need the artist, we could just put out our own music. Yeah, that's true. But so can artists when they battle rap or they do live performances or public speaking. They don't need a beat. So I think that doesn't really help the ultimate truth of the matter, because that's like an edge case. It's an outlier in this case. Very specific use case. The same way, Meek Mill came up from freestyling on the corner. There was no beat. He was just freestyling. Okay, so V says, I think both are quite important, but depending on the genre, of course, for rap and hip hop, it's usually focused on the vocal, but a bad beat can ruin that. A good beat can definitely complement it and make it sound louder. Make it sound better. Think about Make Them Say, oh, na 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 na. That beat was like, dun 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 dun. The beat was like not the thing that made that a hit song, and it went platinum. So because of that example, I could say that basically because it went platinum without the beat being a hard beat, then doesn't that mean that the artist is more important? Okay, so we can always have these examples, but I really want to get to what makes the song the song. Okay, so nextly we have IDK Who This Was. The beat and vocals are like H and O in H2O. The song is made by both, so is the water. You can separate them, but then you don't have a song, don't have the water. I don't know what the point of your take is. I mean, he didn't have to diss me at the end, but your point, you're missing I think his argument is decent up until he said you can't separate them, because that's not true. And again, I'm not going to go back and forth with each comment here, because I want to hear you guys' comments on YouTube to make more sense of this whole thing. Again, I'm not here to bash artists or producers. My goal is to figure out what makes the song, okay? I made a beat the other day, and I'm like, only until I added vocals did it feel like the song, okay? And he says you can't. He says you can separate them, but then you don't have a song. Again, I disagree, because there's plenty performances where they don't have any background beat. It's just the artist starts singing and people know what it is. Trill Chair says, until the artist can cultivate a fan base that resonates with their lyrics, they need a good beat. Fans like acapella for a second, then they want the beat back playing again. I don't know what examples you guys are using. So again, it's like again a mixture of truth in there. Not arguing against him, because he makes a good point that beats probably carry people to stardom, but at the same time, sometimes just their personality, their image. For example, Playboi Carti. I have no idea how he became so popular. I mean, I don't know if it's because he got with Iggy Azalea or what subculture he came from. Maybe it was SoundCloud culture. I'm not dissing him. I just don't know how his sound became popular. It's not a decent. I don't like the sound of Playboi Carti's beats or his approach to music. It doesn't mean that he's a bad artist. I just think like there's not much artistry there as far as like musicality and talent. That doesn't mean he's not going to be one of the biggest artists in the world. He could care less about my opinion. The kid's making millions of dollars. And ultimately, my opinion doesn't matter anyway, because I'm not a fan and I'm not going to persuade fans to turn away from him anyhow. So it doesn't really matter my opinion. My point is, how did he get popular? How did a young thug get popular? When he was going out of key, auto-tune was extreme. How did Playboi Carti get popular? You know, is it really the beat? I think in those cases, the beat could be argued as more important, because the artistry is just like, what? I did it for what? It's just mumbling over the beat for the most part. There's no real like artistry there. But I think for people who bring lyrics like rap or, you know, a singer-songwriter like an R&B artist, I think it is more important for the vocal performance. If the beat wasn't so important, why do artists need beats? Again, maybe we need to come up with a list of artists who need beats and then artists who don't need beats. Maybe that's the final solution for our concept today. Luna says, because they're fans of the song, so they know the words. Both are equally important. Why is this a question? So they know the words. Okay, but if I didn't have a beat, are they going to know the beat? Like if I asked you guys to beatbox some of the songs that you added to your playlist in the last 2 weeks, to beatbox the beat off the top of your head, you're probably not going to remember, because that's not the thing that you take away. The thing you take away is usually the top line lyrics. Okay, it's not like the beat going, mew, mew. Maybe it is. I don't know. Depends. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Local Crew says, tell him to drop an acapella album, then see how that works. Again, they're trying to diss artists. Here's my thing with producers is like, you guys want artists to value you, and then subconsciously you're just dissing artists, saying that they're not important. You want to sell to people who you deem are not important. Would you date somebody who treated you like you weren't important? And if commerce is social intercourse, quite literally, social intercourse, that's the definition of commerce. And you're basically telling the other party you could care less about them. Why would they interact with you? So I think producers are trying to establish value of themselves, but they're actually bashing the other party, which lowers their value, which is like, so it's important as you make it. Okay, so some of these arguments have decent points, some don't. Nick says, I mean, I get the point of this, but what are they supposed to do? I mean, artists can, again, why do people act like artists are just bad performers? Go look at Lil Baby freestyle on, I think it was Shade 45, or it's on my page. The Baby went insane over that beat. Did the beat make the performance, or did the Baby just go insane? Let me pull it up real quick. All right, so here's the ultimate example. All right, so I said he smoked that, which he did. The baby actually, I wasn't listening to his stuff for a while, but this was like, whoa, he killed this. All right, so this is over a Kendrick Squabble Up beat.
Hey, he turns up.
At Power 106.
Let's go get him, brother.
Yeah.
Come on, take off on him.
On these niggas' head, they got a migraine. Fuck up brains, I won't call her back. I'm playing mind game. Money will plan a funeral. Thinking about taking my chain. Nigga won't need no ambulance. Fucking around with my aim. Leaving a nigga DOA. Nigga want me to squabble up. Won't even let him throw a punch. Go punch Ali, I shot him up. Rest in peace to Muhammad Ali. Stepping, yeah, when I hop on the beat, you better go get the hottest for me in the Tesla truck with the top of the seat. Nigga, I came out LA on business. I had a couple meetings everywhere. I had a pistol. No manners for no slut, so I don't care and I don't listen. I fuck her good and pull out on her hair, but I don't kiss her. Turn on the music, it made me dance. Yeah, Glock 40 Ruger, tucked in my pants. Yeah, look, nigga play with baby, shot the party up. New York for a couple days, I flew into LaGuardia. The bitch don't play no basketball, her dude is fucking guarding her. I think he's scared of losing her. Choose her, then she's out of there. Powder frames, look just like the glasses Harry Potter wear. Cuban link, look just like the collar that the dog will wear. You can see, I'm only top 5 and they don't gotta care. Stupidly, living in a delusion. Baby, just keep on giving it to them. In and all they confusion. This shit like I lay with Luca. It ain't no way that we losing. You ain't even gotta convince me that you're crazy. I ain't moving. They gon' have a snowstorm and they live for the play and I don't shoot them.
Let's do it.
Nigga, squad.
Like, bro, do you think that the beat was that important to that performance? This is an example of when an artist is a real artist and they know how to perform and they know how to bring real value as far as the verse or the rap or the rhythm. The beat is just a background supportive element. So maybe we just need to make a list. I think the final conclusion I'm starting to think of, we need to do like, you know how people do like top 5 rapper list or top 10 rapper list. We need to make a list of artists who need beats to carry them. Not in a negative way, but like where the beat is usually more important in the performance. And then we need an artist list where it has artists that carry the beat. Okay, so I think that's the final conclusion that I've come to. I think that'll be the best thing to do as a community. Baby Jesus says, people don't understand the concept of group projects. Oh, you mean like artists and producers? All My Voices says, cool, let singers... Wait, let me read this slower. All My Voices says, cool, let singers produce acapellas and producers produce tracks, and let's see who the people listen to. Right now, you can have a career making beats, not doing acapellas. Again, you guys are wrong about saying that people cannot put out acapella albums because you're only thinking about a song. You're not thinking about public performance. There's people demanding $40,000 right now just to speak on a stage. Okay, let alone perform. Okay, so Nini or Skinny Mini says because both are needed. Okay. Jay, how you say that? I'm gonna call you Jen Neon. I don't know how to say that. If you had the choice, only listen to instrumentals or only listen to acapellas, what would you choose? I mean, I listen to freestyle raps all the time. There's a whole battle rap league where there's 0 beat. Again, there's too many examples that I could pull up. And there's a huge culture behind that. And again, I don't listen to beats like that. Progress is Made says, let's see how many straight up acapellas get anywhere on the Billboard charts. But you could say the same thing for the beat tape. I've never seen a beat tape in the Billboard charts. Quick question, are you okay? You an idiot, bro, not gonna lie, says Zay Saski. You're such a dumb A. If the beat ain't important, why don't artists drop an acapella? Again, that's not a good argument because, again, you could say the same exact thing in reverse. Why can't producers drop beat tapes and they become #1 hits? It's just not the thing. That's not my question, though. I'm not saying you can have one without the other. My question is, what makes the song the song? That's my question. Here's some other subpoints before I wrap this video up. And some other arguments I see is a great beat can make a song memorable even with average vocals. I've never heard it. I mean, maybe Playboi Carti, maybe some of the SoundCloud cloud rappers, but I can't think of an artist where the beat just like was so good that I just excuse the artist's verse. Because then it wouldn't be something I would go back to. So that's the thing. It's like, what brings me back? It's usually a good artist performance, not the beat. I don't listen to beats like that. Maybe other people just listen to beats. Another argument here is that beats set the tone and the mood, driving the emotional impact. Yeah, that's true. But then my counterpoint to this is you could have a hit song like a Beyonce's All the Single Ladies, and then you could do a remix to where it's like trap beat. You could do a remix where it's reggaeton. You could do a remix where it's EDM. So the fact that I could just swap out the beat and the song is still the song shows me that maybe the top line melody or the vocal performance is the actual song. The background beat is simply a supportive element for the song. That's what I'm trying to argue here from my point of view, because the simple fact the remix exists should show that the beat itself is not that important. And I don't mean that it's not important. I said that's important. Another argument here is that high quality beats can elevate an unknown artist to fame. That can be true, but so can an artist being good can elevate a bad producer. So, I mean, that could be both sides. I don't think that's a strong argument just to say that beats can make an artist famous. But the question is, why couldn't the beat be so famous by itself? If it lifted up so many people, it should be able to lift up itself. Okay, so beats are often the first thing fans recognize in a hit song. Again, how's that true when most people can't recall the last 2 weeks of songs they've added to their playlist? They couldn't beatbox the beat if they tried, but they know the lyrics. Arguments against the beat being more important than the artist. Here's a little list. An artist's voice and lyrics give the song its identity. That I agree with, because I could do the way people recognize cover versions is like, that doesn't sound like Michael Jackson, and they are like, okay, this is a cover version of Billie Jean is not my lover. I just don't have the Michael Jackson thing that gives it its identity. Okay. And nextly, they said a charisma and delivery of the artist create a lasting connection with the fans. That I agree with. For example, my question is, if beats are so important, let me rephrase this. If the beat is so important, and I'm not saying it's not important, I said if it's as important as people say it is, then why are music producers chasing artists for opportunities? Think about that. If the artist is the one who makes this thing worldwide known and basically gives that beat a stage, how is the beat more important than the artist? If ultimately producers have to go to the artist in order to be known. I guess think of it like this. There are many farmers who contribute to McDonald's. There are a lot of potato farms, chicken farms, beef farms. But do we know those beef farms? Do we know the potato farms? Doesn't mean the quality of the product isn't fire, but do we know the actual growers of the potatoes and the growers of the chicken? Or does McDonald's, did McDonald's make it popular because of their systems and their business building and their awareness to then make that product, the product, important? Okay. A beat without a strong artist can feel empty or generic. A beat without a strong artist can feel empty or generic. Yeah, that's very true. Okay, artists write stories, the beat just supports it. That's the point I'm trying to make, because if you really break down songwriting, because I teach this, okay, there's 4 layers. You have the top line, which is your memorable melody. You have the harmony section, which is your chords. You have your contrast section, which is your bass and counter melody. And you have your rhythm section. So if you remove the top line, the beat is just kind of like in supportive mode, where you can add an artist over top. If you remove the chords, okay, now you have like a breakdown, low energy type feel to your track. If you remove the contrast, your beat feels void of density. And if you remove the rhythm, it just feels like, again, like a subsection of the beat. But what you can't not have is that top line for people to memorize the feeling of the beat or the melody or the motif. It's the thing that people catch on to. If you ever watch a show, start being aware of like the music in the background. And if you have shows like Love Island, Temptation Island, Ultimatum, and all those types of shows, I want you guys to pay attention to the singers and how they grasp your attention. Most great composers and songwriters, they write in the rule of 3. So it'd be like, I'm from the ghetto, ghetto, ghetto. I'm from the hood, hood, hood. I'm from the ghetto, ghetto, ghetto. And I look good, good, good. I'm from the ghetto, ghetto, ghetto. I'm from the hood, hood, hood. I'm from the ghetto, ghetto, ghetto. And I look good, good, good. It's the rule of 3. Not saying it's going to be that repetitive. That's more of a 2000s approach to repeat it that much. But you'll usually see a motif recur in 3s, and that's in the top line vocal, because that top line helps people understand the actual movement of the track because it repeats the pattern. Okay, so without getting into geeky stuff, the artist is the one who performs that most of the time, unless it's a very strong musical lead, like an EDM. Like for people who watch Love Island, dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. You know that melody, okay? So it's the top line of the song. So maybe we need to figure out which songs top line is from the beat and which song's top line is from the actual artist. I think maybe that's what we're digging down to. And lastly, iconic artists can make even simple beats legendary. And if you want an example, look at Beyonce's stuff, because I'm like, who made this beat? It's so bare bones. Beyonce was the whole song. So I think we have so many examples of each thing. And I really want to hear you guys' take on this. What makes the song the song? That's the question for today. Leave your comments below. Share with a friend. Let's get these guys in this conversation. I truly want to figure out what makes the song the song. All right, guys, subscribe if you're new. Peace.